How's it going, everybody? So we're on this Rover today. It's a Rover 75 estate, and as you can probably hear, brakes are starting to fall apart. Don't know if the pads are worn right down or something's fell apart inside the drum, because these are a double system. They've got a disc on the outside and then a drum system on the inside, all in one. So we'll take a look. I've got the old hot chocolate going because it's -2 in here at the moment, so it's pretty cold. So I'm just trying to warm the old bones up because the tools are like icicles. And let's get started. So welcome in, I'm Carl, and I'm hoping to save you a bit of money so you can do this work yourself. So let's go. So you're going to want a 17mm socket to undo the wheel studs, or a gun like so, or just your normal crossbar. I ain't got one to thingy, but you know what I mean, the ones that you just spin and under the wheel. Make sure you're on the right settings. It's tight. They're very tight. So tight the gun don't want to get them off. Let's try a different one. Looks like I'm going to have to get a bar on them. But you get the idea. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to whack the axle stand just under here. Just in case the old jack failed. I've got the jack underneath on the centre at the moment, just to make sure. So bear with me, I'll just get them cracked off, we'll whiz them off, and we'll carry on. Okay, so wheels all off, I can see in there. To be fair, the discs are not that grooved. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're out of shape, but the edges ain't got much of a lip. So I've got the box here with the new stuff in it. So let's open it up and have a look, shall we? Just point you down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Now I've obviously been in there because you can see I'm unsealing it right now with a blade. So I'm hoping they're the right stuff. Don't get me wrong, you do, when you're doing as many vehicles as I do, quite often get the wrong stuff. Be quite annoying. Put the package on the side, use that for something else. Right. So we should have a set of brake pads for the front here, but then there should also be some shoes for the inner. So we've got the pads, looking nice, got the clips on the back, pretty good. Now, just to help you on your searches and stuff, I'll give you some part numbers so you can see what's what. That's the actual brake pads. These are the brake shoes. That's a bit of a... These have been opened before by the looks of things, they're all greasy, but they are brand new. You can see what they are, just a set of shoes. What numbers have we got for you on this one? Give you the top numbers as well, just to make sure it all works. And then obviously the main beasts. Oh, should be really heavy on these. Jobby. Do they look a bit nicer than them ones? Yep. So, right off the bat, I've noticed nothing's come with any grease. As you can see, I always grease the faces, grease the sliding parts, etc. when I'm doing the brakes. So we haven't got any of them. So I will go to my little store on the other side there, and I'll find some grease. Okay, so first part of the job is going to be take this centre cap off. Now what I'm trying to do, obviously because I'm doing this so people can do it at home on their driveways. Just got a normal screwdriver, whereas normally I'd use a little chisel. Just got a normal hammer, whereas normally I'd use a lump hammer. I'm just trying to replicate what you'd have to do at home, just so you can see what's what. I could do the job faster if I used my advanced tools. As you can see, setting the cap out, you see it's all been greased. The reason this is all nice and greased up and all pristine is about a month ago I changed the rear hubs inside, done all new bearings, re-greased everything. Not knowing I was going to be in here again doing all this. So that's that bit out of the way. You then want a bolt for the centre. Now I'm probably going to whack it on here again. But if not, I'll be using the breaker bar, so I'll get you some sizes for that. I'm pretty sure it's 32, and as I said, it is 32. Done enough of these cars to know what's what on them now. And away it comes. Just got a cloth here to get the grease and stuff off. Now, if you were doing that with the breaker bar and stuff, obviously it'd be slightly different, but all you do is just lever it. And what you've got is a little, you see that there, little notch. And what it is in there, you just knock it in so that can't spin. And you knock it out when you take it off like that. Okay, next you have to get in around the back of the caliper here, and if you look here, there's one here, one there. You just have to wiggle these little plastic caps off, and inside them you need one of these, which is an Allen in a socket. This one's a V7. Basically you put it in there like so, get your ratchet on it. What I normally do is have an extension bar behind here and then ratchet it from behind the shock there, and then you've got to do the same on this one down here. Again, another cap, get your Allen key in and get them undone. So I'll just bring you in from underneath. You can see how we got it set up. Extension bar behind the shock, but not too long that you hit the anti-roll bar. And then it's a base of undoing it. Then you've got the same on the bottom one. Bit more of a pain because the ratchet hits here, but that's how you undo them. Alright, I'll get them out and we'll carry on. Okay, so they're undone. Both of them are out. Not completely at the colour, but they just sit on the ends. You can wiggle them out if you want to. I'll show you one just to show you what they are. Basically them. But they do just sit there in the rubbers really. Next thing to do is pull this clip out. Basically just get a screwdriver in the top of there. Same again on there, just put that to the side with your wheel nuts and stuff like that. And then we're starting to prise this caliper off. Quite rusty this one, to be honest. Probably could be time to put a new one on it, but it does its job. Being a pain to come off. Bear with me, I've still got the handbrake on probably. Don't make that mistake. Put the handbrake down, because that's holding everything tight. This should have come off quite straightforwardly really. They can be tight. They want to be a pain. Here they come. And there we go. To be fair, No, remember I was going to say there's half a metre left on the pads, but it's not, because it's gone off at an angle and not really doing its job. This one's the one with the little bit in the back, and then just got to pop the old sensor out. Normally fall out, to be honest, but this one's in there quite tight. See where the sensor's pushed into the top of there? It's just a case of getting underneath it and working out like so. And that's it, that's your sensor. Keep your sensor out of the way, keep your caliper out of the way, try not to hang it if you can help it. And then we're on to the back. And obviously your disc will spin now, start to come loose, but you've still got the bolts on the back of here, which have got to come out to release that, and then you can pull your drum off. So again, I'm laying underneath just to show you what's what, show you where the bolts are, and you're looking at these right here. There's one up there, one down there. I'll see if I can go close for you. And that's basically what they are. I'll give you the size in a sec. I think about 15s. And then once you got this part of the caliper off, which I haven't done yet, you just got this star drive in here, which releases the disc off. I'm just going to crack that off for now and get that out so it's ready, and then we'll undo the back bits. I'll give you some more sizes. Okay, so I pulled these back bolts off. They're 13. Just use a ring spanner, get around the back there. Still got the top one to come off. Once you crack them a little bit, they just spin off. They're pretty good. Put them to the side, give it a wiggle, and out comes your carrier. Put that to the side. Next job is the one I said about in the middle of there. The star drive in. Got my little kit. See what size we are. My kit's been a bit muddled up, so can't really go by the sizes. It says near where they're sitting. Little loose. Normally guess these first time. It took me a while, that done, didn't it? Alright, so what we got on there, we have a T50, so that's a T50. And these can be a pain sometimes, other times they're quite easy. I'm just going to blast it off with the old gun, but cool, that's tight. It's going the right way out. Might have to go the right way. I was trying to do it up. So they're not normally very tight, normally quick nip and they come flying off. If you ain't got that, just use a breaker bar or socket, something like that, and away it'll go. Right, you should be able to wiggle this now, and off it comes like so. And the back of the disc is nowhere near as good as the front. There's a load of grooves in it, don't feel very nice. Not too nice. Alright. Get rid of that there. What are our shoes and stuff like on the handbrake side of things? They're worn about halfway down, I would say. If I wanted to be fussy, I could carry on using them. Just going to wobble this wheelbarrow off. These are what I changed just a month or so ago. So it's got nice brand new wheel bearings on, but I mean, to be fair, it's not looking too bad in there. What we'll do is I'll get in there with some brake cleaner and we'll have a proper look. We'll wipe it all down and I'll bring you in close and we'll have a proper look together. Okay, so got my brake cleaner. Don't be stingy with it, give it a good old blast up, get everything all nice and lubricated down. I always do my shocks and springs and stuff while I've got this out. As you can see, wasn't that long ago when they were replaced. Just nice to keep them clean if you can. Right, let's get in there with a cloth and see if we actually need to replace these pads as well. Obviously I'm not going to do them unless they need doing, but it looks like they do. The only thing on these that can be a pain is where these are held in. These are star drives and they go through the back, through this plate, and sometimes this plate can get weak. And you have to replace the plate to be able to do these back up. I think we're pretty good this time. They were adjusted out quite a lot, which means they were getting worn out. Get the adjusters and everything all nice and clean, and then we can move on to the next stages. So I'm going to take this top spring off, like so. That's basically what that is. Now, well, you can see that. We'll put that down there so we know where it is. Keep them in order so you know which ones go where. So there we go on the bottom. Now, these are not hard to mess up because the bottom one's got a much more stronger substantial spring. So you can't really mix them up, to be fair. I'll show you them on the ground in a minute, but just getting everything loose at the moment. The adjuster is nice and free, as you can see, which is what you want. You need that to move backwards and forwards to put the new ones on. So we'll take that out. That's your adjuster ring. Stick that down there. Next thing is I need to get the right screwdriver and we'll remove these shoes. So I've got myself a Phillips screwdriver. I should be able to just turn them and it should come through like that. It's basically this little keyway thing that holds them on. That one's a little bit bent, to be honest, but nothing to worry about too much. Same on the other side. Ooh. So that fitting kit on that side's a bit rough. Same again. As I say, they can get a bit rough, but you can buy new ones. To be honest, the springs are gone on that, so probably going to have to replace them. Okay, so we've got everything laying on the floor down here, as you can see, and the little springs that I took out just now with them Allen key ends basically just fell apart. They're not much good, so they're only fit for the bin really. So it's been a couple of days because I had to order a fitting kit. This is the fitting kit, there's the part number. And basically these are all the new bits to replace all these over here with brand new bits. So let's start putting this back together. So let's attempt to put it back together. Got to remember what's what. And we'll go from there. do believe they went like so. I'm pretty sure this adjuster was in the top here. Have to wind that to whatever we need it to go to. So what we'll do is we'll get a tool to fit in the end of here, which I should have sitting here with me. Just get the right one off. Just got myself an Allen key, which is a V5. Should be able to do this by hand, hopefully. Better getting the rest of the tools on it. But we'll have a go and see what's what. Basically push it into this hole. I might get in the way a little bit because that's a bit awkward to do what it's got to do and show you at the same time. Can you push it in? Yeah. There we go, that's in. Just got to make everything else line up now. As you can see, it's sitting there quite nicely. I've got to do the same with the other side. All the way up. These little grooves line up into the teeth of that. Same again. So basically, you got your spring and your little thing goes through the middle of it. Put your Allen key in the middle and you put it through the hole, push it in and you turn it half a turn and that locks in. Like so. And that's them locked in. Back in the position where they should be. And the adjuster, you can wind your adjuster to get it to sort of where you want it. Make sure it's all free and moving nicely. And if we're going to need it that far open, because obviously the shoes that came off were worn, so we'll wind this back in to near enough all the way in. Put it between the shoes and then we just wind it out to take up the slack. Now it's actually adjusting the shoes. Try and keep everything all nice and centered. Looking pretty good. Don't need to touch the handbrake inside the car or anything like that, because if the handbrake was working before, then it'll work again. You just adjust it here, get it all right, ready for your disc to go back on. So if I remember rightly, the big strong spring goes in the bottom. All I do to do these is I put a screwdriver down the back of them, put the screwdriver end in the hole, and normally, if it goes right, I can get it to slip along the screwdriver and into where it's meant to go. He says, doing that a bit left-handed, I'm going to do it the other way around, to be honest. I'm just trying to keep my arms and stuff away from the camera, but it's not as easy as that when stuff like this is just tough to put on. Let me find a... I thought I had a flat blade sitting here as well, but I must have moved it. I think you get the idea. The spring goes there, then the top one does the same. This one I can probably pull. No, even that one's tough. And to be fair, if I'd have kept that slackened off, I would have just pushed that straight in there, but I'll try and do it with the old screwdriver if we can. Being a right pain, to be honest. Normally I can whip them in seconds. I'm going to have to wind it back and get a bit of slack. You can hear it moving around. That's where you're getting your slack back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little flat blade, because it'll go in a lot easier with a flat blade. And so I thought I had one there, but I was sitting right on top of it. Bear with me. And basically you put your flat blade in the end of the hole normally, pull everything across. For some reason the shoes are pulling away from me. As you can imagine, that's a bit of a fun job. Nope. That should have been in, to be honest, but we'll wind it back even more. These are not meant to be that much of a pain, but this one definitely is being a pain. That's how it's meant to go in, as you saw. Should be a lot easier than what I was making it. Then you can just click this out to where you get the shoes all levelled. All you have to do is keep trying the drum on until everything all spins nicely. Everything's moved here, so I'll just put it all back together again. But we'll stay at that sort of adjustment for now, I think. It's about 2 or 3 turns round. Then the spring sort of sits and holds the adjuster. Still got to get this bottom one in. And so they're meant to go in a lot easier than what I'm making them look, but they are tough. That is for sure. Cool. What's going on, to be honest? I never have that much trouble to get them in. Very, very strong spring. The older one obviously is quite a bit weaker. Come on, get in there. There we go. Whew. No, I must admit that bottom one was very tough. And to be fair, the top one was quite tough as well. But that's where we need to be. Looking good. The next thing to do is I want to try the drum and stuff, but to try the drum we have to fit the bearing and stuff again. So we'll slide our bearing on like so. You always need to have a rag because your bearing centre should be all nice and greasy, and you want to try and keep that grease off your hands and off everything else. You can still get to your adjuster up here if you need to. So we're going to put this centre on. And basically we're going to have to spin this right in so that everything's sitting where it should. Whack on the gun, on your bar, whatever you're using, and then you'll see the little recessy bit. You get that, you tap your hammer and you put that in. I'll do that in a minute because I've used my hammer over there. So I was just putting that light back up over there, so I needed a bit more light. So you get to that point and you get a nice shiny new disc out. spin this round to so your 5 studs are there and your little hole that holds your disc on is at the top, like so. This is the bit where you got to get the shoes and the discs to line up so you can actually get the disc on. Now I can feel don't want to break the shoes. I can feel that the shoes are too far out, so we'll adjust them again. The last thing you want to do is mess the shoes up. Flip this. So we'll flick that back quite a few turns, get this all centered. And see if it will go on again. That's just basically trial and error until you get the right distance to get everything together. Messed it out too much by the feel of things. We're not far off, but we're enough off to not be able to get them on, which is a bit of a pain. Let me just make sure that is the right disc we're putting on there. The size of the disc looks good. Just make sure the centres are good. Just making sure the centres of the disc are the same as the one we took off. That looks like they are. Sometimes if you get the wrong disc it can obviously be a pain. It looks like we're going to have to wind it right in, which is a long way in, because you can't wind them back out once you... No, wrong way, I'm winding it the wrong way there. Can't be too much left. There isn't really much more movement. Should be going over the top, to be honest. Feel that being a pain. Grabbing on the edge of the shoes, which we don't want. I can only go to a certain point, and then there's no adjustment left on them. There's obviously a lot more meat on these new ones than there was on the old ones. What I'm trying to do is line up everything with this outer ring, because that's basically your guide to let you know everything's sitting in the right place. We're all still on down the bottom as far as I can see. There we go, we got it that time. Can be a pain. It's a lot of messing about, trial and error until you get everything lined up. You'll be doing it and thinking, oh, that don't fit, is that the wrong disc, is that this, is it that, all that sort of stuff. It's not the case, it's just a case of making them fit. Now, that went on a bit too easy, so I will wind that 2 more turns, and I'll keep doing it until that goes on tight. Not too tight that the wheel won't turn, but tight enough that we're going to get a nice handbrake. like that. That's pretty tight. That's only just going on. Just catching on that slightly. Now I don't mind them catching because you'll go down the road and you use it a little bit, and that will sort of take like the shine off the, let me show you, off the edge of the shoes. When you get a new one, you get like a shine from where they've been made, and you really want that off. A lot of the time I stand it off, to be honest, but when I'm doing all this and I'm showing you on the video and stuff, I'll just basically make it grab like so, and then once I go down the road, I'll just use the handbrake a little bit as I'm driving along, and yeah, just sort of pull up and down a few times just to basically take the shine off the shoes and get it to start grabbing. That will take the shine off the inside of the disc as well. Make sure it's on the right setting so we don't over tighten anything. It's got a special setting on that, so I can't over tighten anything. Now that's pulling on them pretty good, to be fair. That's just touching them, just pulling them, which is all good, exactly where I want to be. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the old hammer this in. Bear with me 2 seconds, I'm just going to grab a hammer. Normally I keep all the tools and that ready, but I had to put a light up. It's a bit windy out there at the moment. There was something on the roof moved and that broke one of my tubes and my light, so I had to climb up on the wall and put a light back up. But yeah, basically you just get your screwdriver like that, line it up with your keyway, and you're just basically hitting in that groove. That's that bit done. Slap that back in the centre, get your hammer, and that's where you get to. Clean up around the edges, don't want no grease or nothing going on the rest of your brakes apart from your sliders. Okay, so next up we're back on to getting our carrier back in, but before we do that I'm going to get a little wire brush drill. You get the idea, we're getting all them spots. I go all around the edges, all around that side. You get the idea, so I'll do that off camera and I'll bring you back in once we start fitting it. Okay, so we're putting the carrier back in. I've lined it up, got the top bolt in, this is the other bolt, down through the back there, wiggle it about, get it lined up, and away we go. I said in the beginning of the video what they were, yeah, 13mm they are basically, and I'll buzz them up with the old socket. Okay, so next up we want our new brake pads. Get back down to the car, get your caliper, pull your little sensor out. Now this one with the little metal piece in is the one that one goes into. What we are going to have to do actually before we do that is just wind that back. You can get a pair of grips on it, or you can get a proper winding tool, just push that back in, and then that will give me the room to get the new pads in, because obviously that's adjusted to the older ones. So I've got the old brake winder and stuff on there. All you basically do is, I'll quickly show you how it works if you haven't used one before. What you basically do is put that piece over the end, and that acts as a press. You get a fitting kit with all different ends on it. Fit that to the end. This one's literally got a clear bit in here, so you can get the one that fits in there, which is this one. Slacken it all right off. Lay that in there like so. Line up with the piston. And then once you get to the piston, you just wind away and wind the piston in. We're all done, so that's that bit sorted. These boxes always, all the little bits always go everywhere. We'll just slide that there out of the way for a minute. And we're back to where we were a minute ago. On these, just make sure this back is not pressing up against the disc. Now we can put this in like we were trying to a little while ago. For some reason that's being a pain. Normally they just press straight in. For some reason that doesn't want to. Okay, why are you being a pain? Normally there isn't much to it. You just give them a wiggle, like I'm trying to, and away you go. But this one is not having that for some reason. This metal bit also sort of feels like it's sticking up too much. Yeah, the feeling it was. The one that's on the old ones is nowhere near that far in. Is there enough to do that? It does feel like there's enough gap, but if they're in, we're going to have to adjust that and do something with it. So, feels like it's hitting the back. And we got it in, that's in. Nice, alright. And then this one goes on this side. Basically just sits there like so. When you're doing these, and sometimes you can buy aftermarket ones, and all these can be really tight and they don't work in here very well. As you saw me with a drill, just drill all these, get these all nice and smooth. If you have to, get in there with a little file, a bit of sandpaper, do the same on the edges of these, and make sure they're gonna move around, you know, really easy. There's no point in having them tight and not moving, because then they'll be a waste of time. They need to be able to go free when you let go of the brake and stuff like that, and that's where they need to sit. So bring the caliper back over. I've got the fun bit of this can be a pain sometimes. Just getting this. You have to get it all to line up, and this you got to do it all at once, sort of thing. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Got to make sure on the, that's what it is, on the sliders, if they push through, as you can see on this one, it's pushing through and pushing up against it. Then they've got to be right back and out of the way. That one went right back out of the way. It's actually shot out. Which we'll grab in a minute. And that sits there like so. We do up these at the back here. So obviously I've got to go and grab that one because it just went under there. We get them done up. And then that's a case of sliding this little sensor into one of the pads, like so. It can be a pain, to be honest. Might just No, the other one didn't fly out, actually that's in there, it just moved. What I'm going to quickly do is just put this through here. Just want to make sure the little sensor thing's on properly before we go any further, and that is. And basically we do these up from behind like before with the Allen key, which is this one here. You get the idea that it'll be nice and tight. Make sure this wire is down the back here, and if that's not in its clip, which mine isn't, just cable tie it to the other brake wire and keep it out of the way. And then you're pretty much where you need to be. This should move around just like that, just gently scraping, and you should all be good. So that's all gone back together quite nicely. We're looking good. That's all moving. There's one more bit left to do. Where is it? That's this piece here. Them two bits go in there, like so. That one goes in there. And everything is exactly how you need it. Lovely. It should keep everything all locked tight and looking good. So once you get to this point, you're starting to get near the end. Just a little ratchet out from where we're doing up the back of the caliper there. The last bit you got to do is put your little covers back in. That'll be jubbly. So I've got to do this wire I just said to you about. You do the same, just cable tie it together like that, so when the suspension goes up and down it's got a little bit of travel, and you're ready to go. Don't go in and touch your foot brake or anything like that, or your handbrake yet. Go and do the other side, and then when you've done the other side, come round, pump the pedal at least 10-15 times, pump it right out until everything all settles down. Then you can go ahead and test your handbrake. Never do it the other way around, because then you just mess everything up and you have to reset everything. So, okay, so we've come to the end of this one. Let's hope that's going to help somebody out and help you do it, because it's quite a fiddly pain of a job, some of it, and get a bit costly if you take it into a garage. So if you can sort of do it yourself, don't mind getting a bit greasy, and you've got food tools, should help you out, should save you quite a bit of money. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye for now.